In this video, we're going to talk quite a bit about the future of Fallout 76. Bethesda just shared some pretty big details on the upcoming Brotherhood of Steel event that will be taking place in-game in the next couple of weeks, going over some of the rewards we could see from that, as well as what the event itself is even going to be. Even further, there's been some more questionable or odd things happening with the game, in particular with the recent Banwave and a new exploit to pop up, one that is actually immensely handy and I'm sure several of you will want to use. And then finally, we also have a look at Quakecon. The Quakecon schedule was posted. It's highly regarded that we'll get more information on the future of 76 at this event, although the schedule doesn't make it clear exactly when that could be. So I want to talk a bit about that, dive a bit deeper into it, and actually reveal that I am going to be there. Okay, it's digital, so I'm not literally going to be there, but I will be present during one of the community panels or events that is presented during Quakecon. If you guys enjoy the content or just want to stay up to date with Fallout 76 and its news, you can get subscribed. We have quite a bit to talk about in this video though. So let's first take a look at Bethesda's recent Inside the Vault article. Some of the new details they just shared around the Brotherhood of Steel and its coming DLC for the game. So just a bit of a recap, the Brotherhood of Steel are coming to Fallout 76 functionally in 3 waves. In the next couple of weeks, we do have the event with retaking Atlas Observatory, this having an alpha and a Bravo side, and we'll get explicit as to what exactly that means in a moment. But later this fall, we do have Steel Dawn. This will seemingly be several quests and the actual introduction of Brotherhood NPCs into the region. And then finally this winter, the big one with Fractured Steel, which will seemingly be a Wastelanders-esque experience, except focused around the Brotherhood of Steel and something that happens to them. So firstly, let's take a look at Fortifying ATLAS, this new event that is coming to Fallout 76 in just a short while. With the release of patch 20 for Fallout 76, we found Atlas Observatory boarded up, having a note from this new NPC named Russell Dorsey as to how he's gone right now but is returning, and this is all focused around this new Fortifying ATLAS event. Technically, the kickoff point for this event is one of the in-game broadcasts you could find in Fallout 76 right now, that with the Brotherhood radio. We've talked about this broadcast quite a bit, but more or less, there is a group of Brotherhood soldiers on their way to Appalachia. They decided they're going to set up shop at Atlas Observatory, so we're going to be getting things ready for them, as they kind of demand in that message. They weren't very friendly about it, to be honest. Russell Dorsey is going to act as the local liaison to facilitate this process, and it seems like based off this, we could get some images of him. He'll also have quite a bit of dialogue options, though, giving you some background and just in-game interactions around the Brotherhood of Steel. And more or less, the way this will work is, starting on August 4th, when the next patch for the game does go live, we will seemingly see a bit of an overhaul to Atlas Observatory, as we could somewhat see in the background. Some Brotherhood things have already been placed down, probably by Russell. But then we as the players will have the task in the alpha side of things to deliver certain junk items, and well, a lot of junk items. You can see from August 4th to 8, it'll be 125 million steel, and if the players collectively do that, you will get the Brotherhood of Steel beret. And the way this is described, it is everyone will get this beret. It doesn't actually even seem like you have to participate in donating steel. It's just if this milestone is hit, the Brotherhood of Steel beret will be unlocked for everyone, likely just as a free item on the Atomic Shop or just add it to your account. And then from there, it'll shift to a different goal. So from the 8th to 11th, 150 million concrete, and you can get a Brotherhood of Steel camp banner. We could actually see this somewhat in the images. Then we start to get into some of the more stretch goals. The 11th to 15th with 200 million cork, and we'll have another high score double daily challenge later down in the month, 150 million plastic, which give us a bonus challenges week. So we'll likely have 10 challenges or 11 challenges instead of the typical 9 that we see. So that's all on the alpha side, which is basically just the first wave of this. But later on in the month, the Bravo side will start, where it'll just be different types of junk items you'll have to donate at different dates. So rather than the start of August, this will take place at the end of August and into the first couple of weeks of September. And from this, we could get things like the Steel Dawn Army Fatigues, the Brotherhood of Steel Collectron Station. It seems like this one will collect things like ammo and just miscellaneous junk items. And then for what seemingly are those stretch goals, again, a 50% off sale for the Purveyor, as well as a second iteration of Meat Week. Meat Week right now is already scheduled for August 18th, so actually right in between the Alpha and Bravo side of these two events. but if the community manages to donate this much glass, we will get it yet again. And also, if you participate in this just from donating resources, you're actually going to get these things called Atlas Donors Provisions. And based on data mines, it more or less seems like these are going to be similar to presents. So you could open them just to get random rewards in game, likely having some more rare ones and some more common ones. Overall, I could definitely see a lot of people thinking, whoa, how is it even going to be remotely possible to donate something like 200 million cork? And yeah, I could definitely see some of these higher milestones potentially not getting hit, especially those that take place during the week, because although it's summer, a lot of people still have to work during the week. But a lot of times when these types of things are designed by Bethesda or just game companies in general, they have a look at the internal numbers to see how much steel, let's say, is just generally collected by the audience in a week, because they of course more or less want all of these milestones to be hit. So I feel pretty confident that collectively across all three consoles and with the wider audience now with Game Pass, that there's a pretty good chance everything will be hit from these. Although for right now, that's really all we know about this. This is kind of the first wave of things going on. We also do have the encrypted station in Fallout 76 right now, although all of the messages from that from Maxon have been decrypted by data miners ahead of time, so it's not like that's really any new information. Again, that's been in game for around a month now. But yeah, this is going to be the first kicking off point for the Brotherhood of Steel content. And this is starting on August 4th, which is the release date of patch 21, which definitely could contain some interesting data mines around the future. A lot of that stuff has already been on the PTS, so on one hand, we might not actually get much from the patch itself, but once the patch 22 PTS does go live, they typically will go live a few days after the most recent patch actually goes on live servers, then the PTS is taken down, then goes back up, let's say within a week. But from that PTS, it is very possible we'll get some significant implications around future DLC. So just in general, this will be a time to look forward to for Fallout 76. Although, even outside of that, next week we also do see Quakecon starting. For the past 2 years, Quakecon has actually seen Fallout 76 have a fairly significant presence. 2 years ago, we got some gameplay from Quakecon and just several questions answered. Last year, we had more of concept art as well as a panel answering a ton of questions, actually hearing about things like mod support somewhat. But one of the very interesting things about Quakecon 2020 is there really isn't an obvious time where this would happen. There's no Fallout 76 panel that is just broadly listed as kind of being somewhere where they would show a new trailer or show off images or answer community questions. Quakecon overall this year seems to have a very heavy community focus, with nearly everything featuring either the community team or even actual community members. Which, speaking of, at 2 p.m. Central Time on Saturday, August 8th, there is going to be the Chad Fallout 76 Story podcast. And for this time slot, there likely should be at least some discussion with developers, and also later on for a segment I am participating. I don't want to spoil too much as to how exactly I'm participating, but it was pretty fun, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it. But in general, when it comes to future Fallout 76 news, one of the things I could see being somewhat revealing is on the first day, 1 p.m. Central Time, a Colossal Problem boss event with the Fallout 76 development and community teams. I could see it being a situation where more or less some of the devs are playing the new Colossal Problem event, and the community team is asking them questions from the community, or just maybe they'll share a few details about things to come. I've actually seen this retweeted by both the project lead and some other Bethesda employees, and to me, if there was going to be some big new reveals, I would expect it to be here. But overall, I'm actually really shocked by the schedule. A lot of it seems a lot of fun, like the cooking shows and just the community teams, or even Fallout 4 speedrun. All seems really interesting. But for Quakecon, I was really expecting to get details on Doom Eternal. There's a DLC that's confirmed. We've seen images, but we don't know much else. Of course, Fallout 76 going forward, there's a lot of stuff we don't know about what's next for the game, or even a second trailer. The trailer we have currently is kind of coming to an end as far as what new content was shown in that, as a lot of it's getting added to this game within the next month. So perhaps they'll just kind of fit in some new information at some point during Quakecon. It's not as explicit on the schedule, or perhaps they just won't. With how jumbled up things are with these media events this year, maybe they just made Quakecon more of a community focused thing, and a lot of that other information will just come out independently on its own at random points over the next couple of months. Although I still have some hope we'll hear something, even if it's just one-off comments from some of the devs or community team. And I heard a leak we're going to see Starfield, so let's have our fingers crossed. Although one other thing Bethesda is doing with Fallout 76 and Quakecon is giving you freebies. So if you go onto the Atomic Shop while Quakecon is live starting at 11 a.m. Central Time on August 6th, you can either get the Beezle Billy outfit and head or the Mr. Demonic backpack. Again, just for free on the Atomic Shop, so you have to log on to claim it. More or less, these are actually reskins of other existing in-game items, giving you kind of more of a demonic vibe, more in the sense of Quake or really almost Doom, I feel like. But still a cool freebie to offer during this event. But then taking a step away from that, let's look at Fallout 76 right now and what we could find in game. One of the interesting exploits to pop up as of late, that's just kind of a funny one and one you will almost certainly abuse after watching this video. One of the rewards you could get for participating in the season system or the score system is fireworks. They're these little fireworks mines. After you throw them down and they explode, it'll actually show off this pretty cool firework in the sky. Except for whatever reason, if you have these equipped on your character, you'll reload faster, like a lot faster. So here's an easy comparison. Using a regular weapon versus having these fireworks equipped, you'll see, wow, I reload like 10 times faster. Even further, you could actually stack this with other fast reload perks like lock and load for heavy weapons. One of the caveats of this though, if you switch weapons, you're going to have to re-equip the fireworks. So that fast reload will stop working until you actually go in your inventory and unequip and re-equip this. But then from there, it'll work again. It's extremely powerful. I assume just about everyone that has these or participating in the score system will abuse this. It has been reported to Bethesda already, so in all likelihood it will be fixed in the next update. But it's kind of one of those things that I don't tend to cover exploits on the channel, but this really doesn't do any harm. I don't think this is significantly increasing server load or like causing additional lag for you or other players, and somewhat similar to how you could just earn some of those limited time seasonal rewards in Nuclear Winter right now. I think it's something that Bethesda messed up, it broke, and they could hotfix it, but they could also just leave it because it's relatively harmless and of course players are enjoying it. Although kind of funny how this is a thing, and it definitely is quite a bit of incentive to use the season system, at least in the short term. Although one other odd thing that has recently come to Fallout 76 is a Banwave. I feel like I've recapped this like 10 times now, but more or less there was a dupe method, a lot of people abused this, then a bunch of people got suspended from the game pending investigation. Bethesda came out to say if you were abusing this dupe method in a more egregious way, you were getting a permaban, but then some other people were just getting temp bans or suspensions and will later be able to return. And in my last video I talked about how Bethesda was actually unbanning accounts, but they were totally untouched. So they duped a ton of rare weapons or a bunch of ammo, rare items, were banned for a couple of weeks, but then got their accounts back with all of those duped items still on them, which is bad, and actually something Bethesda hasn't done in the past. In the past, they have removed characters or wiped duped items off of accounts when giving them back to players. So it was more or less just a huge slap on the wrist for people abusing this dupe, except it seems like that wasn't across the board, as there are some emails surfacing now of other unbans that are going out that actually involve players losing their characters in their entirety. We can see in this email, which is very similar to the other ones, except the core paragraph is quite a bit different. It does say, access to this account has now been restored and you may log in again. However, due to the extent and scale of the violation, all Fallout 76 characters on the account have been permanently deleted. While these characters can no longer be selected, you may rejoin the wasteland by creating new ones. So that's a pretty severe response, and I think actually a good one. I feel like this should be kind of the staple response for abusing serious exploits like duping. Like if you dupe a bunch of stuff, just delete their character or reset their character. But this is interesting because now it seems like it's a situation where some people, after abusing this dupe, were just permabanned. Some people were unbanned but didn't have any items removed, and others were unbanned but had their characters deleted. So as they go to play Fallout 76 now, although they don't have to re-buy the game, they literally have nothing. Now this isn't as bad because a lot of people that were unbanned are a part of duper communities. So let's say you had your character deleted, you could just log on, have a bunch of your duper friends give you a ton of good items and level up fairly quickly, because there's a lot of ways to do that right now. With the recent score system and the repeatable of gaining experience to get additional score, there's been a huge new interest in gaining experience quickly. But either way, if nothing else, this is a better response from Bethesda. I do wonder if this was just random or if there actually were some merit behind which stage of a ban or suspension you got. As I mentioned in my last video, some of those people that were unbanned but got to keep all of their items bragged about duping over 80 of rare legacy weapons. So it wasn't like it was only a couple of things, there were still pretty significant dupes going on for those accounts. Perhaps in these cases where people are getting their characters permanently deleted, they actually are a bit more significant with their duping. Either way, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you guys found this video informative. Should be a lot of news around Fallout 76. We have this new update in just a few days, but then also Quakecon, where again, hopefully we'll see something for Fallout 76 and also for Starfield. As always, again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, but until next time, I hope to see you all later.